Hello students, welcome to AKTU MOOCs program lecture number 11 of Instrumental Methods of Analysis BP 701T. In today's lecture we are going to discuss about the basic introduction of IR spectroscopy along with the fundamental vibration modes observed in IR spectrum. Myself Krishan Kumar Verma, Assistant Professor, Ramesh Institute of Vocational and Technical Education. So, students, as you already have studied that spectroscopy involves the study of the interaction of the electromagnetic light with the matter. So, what type of light is interacting? Accordingly, we categorize the different spectroscopic methods. As you have studied that when the UV or the visible light interact with the matter, it constitutes the UV or visible spectroscopy. In the same manner, when infrared light strikes to the sample and we observe the absorption of the infrared light and observe the changes that are taking place in the molecule, then it constitutes the IR spectroscopy. So, before going into the deep, let us have a look upon the electromagnetic spectrum. And as you have studied already that electromagnetic spectrum consists of the gamma rays, X-rays, ultraviolet rays, visible light, infrared light, microwave light and the radio lights. So, on the right hand side towards the gamma rays, the wavelength is the smaller and energy content is very high, and on the left hand side wavelength is higher and energy content is less, and even frequency is also less on the left hand side. So, among this whole electromagnetic spectrum, infrared light is that light which falls between the visible region and the microwave region. So, that indicates that infrared light wavelength has a longer wavelength as compared to the UV or the visible light, but has a less energy content. So, it is clearly seen that infrared light has a wavelength of 10 to power minus 5 meters range, whereas the UV and the visible light has a 10 to power 6 minus 6 or 10 to power minus 8 meter wavelength range. So, this is clearly seen that IR light has a longer wavelength as compared to the UV and the visible light. So, it has a less energy content also. Further, IR light or the infrared region is further subdivided into three basic categories: the near IR region, mid IR region and far IR region. The near IR region ranges from 0.8 micrometer to 2.5 micrometer in wavelength units, but it is 13,000 to 4,000 centimeter inverse in wave number units. So, wave number unit is the most widely unit that we are going to use in the course of the study. So, this can be converted by the simple correlation of 10,000 divided by the wavelength in micrometer. So, if you want to get a wave number value of any particular wavelength, so you can divide the 10,000 value with the wavelength value that is represented in micrometer unit. Secondly, there is a far IR region which is the 50 to 1000 micrometer, and in wave number it is 200 to 10 centimeter inverse. So, this is the region where we generally observe the rotational motions, and in the near IR region we generally observe the overtones or the overtone bands. So, for our concern, the most important and the useful region is the middle IR region, or we say it a mid IR region. that ranges from 2.5 micrometer to 50 micrometer, or in the wave number unit we can say like 4000 to 200 centimeter inverse. And even through this whole region, the most important region specifically is the 2.5 to 15 micrometer or 4000 to 670 centimeter inverse. So, this is the region where we are going to observe the vibrational motions of any particular type of bonds. So, as we have already discussed that IR region extends from the red end of the visible region to the microwave region and has a less energy content as compared to the visible or the UV light. So, IR light is generally not capable to cause the electronic transitions that generally we are observing in the UV and the visible spectroscopy because of the less energy content. So, what it can do? So, IR light upon absorption can only cause the amplification in the vibrational motions or vibrational modes of the bonds. So, it is generally seen that what we know about the bond lengths or the bond angles, these are the like mean values. So, atoms are like in a molecule are always in a continuous motion and they have some natural vibrating frequency. So, to cause the absorption we have to match that natural frequency with that frequency of the IR light that we are supplying from the instrument. So, when these two energy matches means energy of the instrument, energy of the IR light supplied by the instrument and energy natural frequency of the bonds, then only absorption take place. So, the absorption of the IR light only take place when its energy matches with the difference between the vibration energy levels of the bond related to the bonds, and this can be clearly seen in this given picture. So, here in the blue you can see these are the electronic levels, electronic energy levels. This is the ground state electronic level, this is the upper state, higher state, and each electronic energy level further has a several vibration energy levels, and each vibration level further has a several rotational energy levels. So, the difference of energy between these two vibration levels, that is the delta E if we consider it. So, this delta E amount should matches with the IR light that we are supplying from the instrument. So, when the IR light of the instrument matches with this delta E amount, then only absorption take place. And when IR light is being absorbed by any sample, then its vibrational motion becomes amplified. So, this amplification is the outcome of the IR light absorption, and how much amount of light and what frequency has been absorbed is the key information that we are expecting from this IR spectroscopy, because that is useful for elucidating the structure and to getting the for getting the information about the various functional groups present in any molecule. So, this matching up process occurs only if the vibrating molecule produces an oscillating dipole moment which can interact with the electric field of radiation. So, therefore, for any molecule to be IR active, its vibrational motion must give rise to a fluctuating dipole moment. So, this is the very most important criteria for any compound to be IR active. So, all those compounds that can observe a change in the dipole moment with the function of time after absorption of the IR light are IR active. So, those compounds which cannot observe a change in the dipole moment upon the absorption of the IR light are not IR active. So, let us have look over some examples. So, heteronuclear molecules such as hydrochloric acid, HCl, CO, CN, NO, all such type of molecules are IR active because they can observe a change in the dipole moment. But homonuclear molecules such as H2, N2, O2 and Cl2 this is IR inactive because they cannot observe a change in the dipole moment. So, therefore, such type of compounds cannot be studied by IR spectroscopy. So, only those compounds can be studied by IR spectroscopy that can observe a change in the dipole moment value. Now, every bond has a different natural frequency of a vibration in any molecule, and no two molecule can have exactly the same IR spectrum or the pattern. So, therefore, IR spectrum is used to determine the structural information about a molecule. So, this is the main information that we are going to exploit whenever we are going to determine the structure of any molecule, because no two molecule can have a same IR spectrum, because every type of a bond in a molecule experience different type of environment, different type of field, and due to this reason, so their natural vibrating frequencies differ with each other, and if they are natural frequencies differing, so the light that is being absorbed by that particular type of bond, it will also differ, and that forms the basis of the identification of our any molecule. Now, let us proceed to the vibrational modes. So, fundamental vibrational modes in any molecule can be understood by considering a molecule as a flexible system that comprises of the balls of various masses that mainly represents the atoms in any molecule, and springs of different strength that represents the chemical bonds of any molecule. The IR active vibrational motion in any molecule are of two types: stretching vibrations and bending vibrations. So, stretching is to stretch up and bending to bend up. Further, the stretching and the bending vibration are classified into subcategories. The stretching vibrations mainly involves the change in the distance between the two atoms. So, during the vibration, the distance between the two atoms either increases or decreases, but the axis remains same, and the stretching vibrations are further classified into the symmetrical stretching vibrations and asymmetrical stretching vibrations. So, we will come to that in the next slide, that what is the difference between the symmetrical and the asymmetrical stretching and how they are different. But for now, let us proceed to the bending vibrations. Bending vibrations or deformations, we generally observe the change in the position of the atoms relative to the original bond axis. So, these bending vibrations can be of in plane motions or they can be out of plane motions. The in plane mainly includes the seizuring motions and the rocking motions, and out of plane motions mainly includes the wagging motions and twisting motions. So, all these four different type of bending motions like seizuring, rocking, wagging, twisting, that all are of concern also, and they are more useful whenever we are going to elucidate the structure of any molecule. So, let us discuss one by one that what are these 6 vibration motions. So, on the left hand side, these two are the stretching motions and these 4 are the bending motions. The symmetrical stretching vibration that appears nearly around 2853 centimeter inwards, and asymmetrical stretching that appears around 2926 centimeter inwards value. In symmetrical stretching, it can be understood in this manner that suppose there is a system of 3 atoms which are having a 2 bonds connected. So, if one bond is going outward, then other bond is going outward, means both type of bonds are going away from each other, then or they are coming together to each other simultaneously at the same time, then it is considered as a symmetrical stretching. But when this one bond goes out and other bond comes inward, then it is a type of a asymmetrical stretching like this. So, such type of stretchings are considered as a asymmetrical stretchings. Now, moving on to the bendings. Bending vibrations, these two scissoring and the rocking motions are of in plane type, whereas wagging and twisting are out plane type. So, in case of a scissoring motion and the rocking motion, the axis and the plane do not changes. So, in the same axis, if two molecules, in two atoms or two bonds, they approach each other like this. So, this is a type of a scissoring motion, but when both move towards the same direction, either upward or downward simultaneously at the same time, then it is a rocking motion. In case of out of plane, wagging motion is that motion in which both the atoms either go above the plane at the same time or both go below the plane. So, if both of the atoms that are connected to two different bonds, they are moving upward or downward below the plane or above the plane, then it is a type of a wagging motion. But when one atom is going upward and second is going downward, then it is a type of a twisting motion, like one is going upward, other is going downward, up down, like this type of motion is a twisting motion. So, wagging and twisting, these are the out of plane motions, scissoring and rocking are the in plane motions. So, any IR spectrum may comprises of any of these 6 fundamental vibrations. So, this is the 3D representation. You can clearly see that these are the motions, that it is a symmetrical, it is asymmetrical, and rest of the 4 are the bending vibrations. So, it can clearly be understood with this 3D animation that how they are moving, how they are vibrating. This is the natural vibration motion. Now, one thing to be keep in mind that bending vibrations requires less energy as compared to the stretching vibrations. So, therefore, bending vibrations appears at a longer wavelength as compared to the stretching vibrations. So, stretching vibrations need more energy and they appear at a shorter wavelength, whereas bending vibrations require less energy and they appear at a longer wavelength as compared to the corresponding stretching vibrations. So, now the number of fundamental vibration can also be calculated theoretically by the equation, and we will consider here two examples. One is the case of a non-linear type molecule and second is of linear type molecules. For non-linear molecules, suppose total degree of freedom for any molecule in a space is considered as a 3n, which is a combination of a rotational motion, rotational degree of freedom, vibrational degree of freedom and translational degree of freedom. So, each has a 3 degree of freedom. So, suppose if we are going to calculate the vibrational degree of freedom. So, this vibrational degree of freedom can be calculated by 3n minus 6. So, this 6 will come this side and it will be getting the minus sign. So, here n is the number of atoms in any molecule. Like here in this case, we have a water molecule. The water molecule has a 3 atoms, 1 oxygen and 2 hydrogens. So, this n will become 3 So, frequency or vibration degree of freedom is 9 minus 6, that is equal to 3. So, all three motions are observed or seen in the picture, that it can observe the two stretchings, symmetrical, asymmetrical, and one is bending. In case of a linear molecule, one rotational degree of freedom is less generally. So, it is generally represented by equation 3n minus 5. So, like for example of CO2, we will get a 4 fundamental vibration we can expect, 2 stretchings and 2 bendings. But unfortunately, this symmetrical stretching of carbon dioxide is generally not observed in the IR spectroscopy because of the dipole moment restriction. So, but it is observed in the Raman spectroscopy. So, now apart from the main fundamental vibrations, we can also observe the other type of bands that can be some like apart from the main stretchings and the bendings. So, one important type of band that is observed is the overtone bands. Overtone bands generally originate or results from the excitation from the ground state to the high energy state corresponding to the multiples of the frequency of the fundamental bands. So, any fundamental band suppose has a frequency of mu. So, its overtone is generally observed at either double value or triple value or so on. So, overtones are the multiples of the fundamental bands, either double, triple and so on like this. Apart from the overtone bands, we generally also observe the combination bands and the difference bands. Combination bands generally arises when two frequencies combine together and produce a new band or the new signal, then it is termed as a combination bands. And the difference band is generally observed when two nearby frequencies they interact with each other and a new band appears at a difference value, then it is a difference band. So, in the combination bands, two nearby frequencies combine together to make a two new or any new band, whereas in case of a difference band, two nearby frequencies they interact with each other and produce a new band at a difference value. So, apart from the normal stretchings and the normal bending vibrations, we commonly see the overtones and the combination bands or sometimes difference band in any IR typical IR spectrum. So, when a fundamental vibration couples with any overtone or any combination band, then the coupled vibration is known as a Fermi resonance. And we come to this Fermi resonance later when we discuss about the factor affecting the vibrational frequency in the next class. So, for the today's discussion, we are just focusing over the different type of natural frequency or the vibrational bands. So, here are the some references that you can use for studying the IR spectroscopy. So, to summarize once again that IR spectroscopy or IR region or the light mainly lie between the visible and the microwave region and has a less energy content as compared to the UV or the visible light. So, whenever any IR radiation strike over a sample or a molecule or any matter, then absorption of the IR light take place if it can observe a change in the dipole moment, and upon absorption of the IR light, the vibrational motion the between the bonds or between the atoms generally amplified, and the what type of frequency has been absorbed and in what amount it has been absorbed is generally recorded by the IR spectrometer, which is the instrumentation. We will discuss this in instrumentation part, and from this spectrum what we observe from the instrument, we get information about the different type of functional groups present in any molecule, what type of bonds are there, what type of groups are there, and what are their natural frequencies. So, that is it for today, student. Thank you very much.